Coach, while you're taking a drink, let's pause for a second and give my father a shout out.
Appreciate you.
Yeah, this was a great Christmas present for the Life on the Road podcast. I got the green screen, so you really can't see mine, but Coach Kee got it. And
Fire, we appreciate all of the listeners, and then with the gifts, we've had a few this year, so
got some good
we
t-shirts,
appreciate that.
some hoodies,
long sleeve, short, the whole nine. We getting it.
Welcome to Life on the Road, a coach's journey with your hosts.
I'm Alphonza Kee.
And I'm Scott Bollwage.
This is a podcast by coaches for coaches.
So sit back and enjoy another outstanding episode of Life on the Road. Welcome to a special edition of Life on the Road. And the reason why it is special because our special guests today are, you're looking at them, Coach Kee and Coach Bollwage for today. So we want to talk about some different things that are going on this time of year when it comes to coaching. And from what we've seen already, the coaching carousel is slowly picking up. What we want to do is we want to talk about the different perspectives that coaches have during this time of year, the head coach's perspective, the assistant coach's perspective when your job may be on the line. We know with the short leash that a lot of coaches have nowadays, your job is on the line almost every year. So, Coach Kee, you've been a head coach at the Division II level. This time of year when we think all is good and, sometimes you hear the rumors of, your job may be on the line. What goes through your head and what goes through a head coach's mind this time of year when that contract may be up?
Well, I tell you, the focus and just the process has changed. It used to be you had a 3 to 5 year contract. The last year of your contract, you really start to think about it a little bit as far as re-upping, what have you. But that's changed. Now you could get clipped in the second year of your contract, held at the end of your first year, third. So that has changed as the profession has matriculated for the last few years. And also, what is the rumor mill is a little different. It used to be kind of word of mouth paper, but now you have the internet. You have sites that are legit, sites that are not legit. Then you have just on your phone, you can pop up and people projecting. So it's real chaotic. It's real chaotic. As a head coach, you just kind of still lock in. That's legitimate, straight ahead. But a lot more difficult. Again, because, the end of your contract, you're kind of looking at your body of work. Again, a lot of times this society is just so instant. So usually in your contract is 4 years. It's supposed to be looked at in totality. But the reality is people mostly look at it that last year. So you can start out your first year, 2 in the conference, second year, first, third, in your contract, you struggle. So that being said, just the noise is louder because of the access. And then as the profession has adjusted, people may know before you do.
Absolutely. And the website that a lot of coaches go to is Hoop Dirt. And,
coaching changes.
Yes. Coaching changes, you can find anything almost everywhere now, but, with Hoop Dirt, I don't know how they find out a lot of things, but they're always, I won't say always the first to break, but they're pretty close.
No question.
And, you think everything's good and you see your name on a hot seat on there. Things are a little different.
No question. And again, just the bombarding of information and seeing it. A lot of times, again, behind the scenes is not always what you read about, but again, reaction is much more emotional because of it in your face. It used to be, at the bar, the five and dime store talking about the adjustment. And again, coaches used to think of contract. Okay, at the end of my 4th or 5th year contract, yes, we have to renegotiate and how have I done? And then you kind of have an idea, well, what was our mission? What was our goal? Have you accomplished those things? Have we gotten close? But also, so we got to talk about too, Coach Bollwage, is just the difference in between your contract and leadership.
Right.
And so that adjusts everything. You could have right on pace to your goals set out by your AD or your president, and then midstream, there's a coaching, there's administrative change.
Right.
And he has a whole new objective, not a matter what he wants his guy. So
Right.
that plays a factor in it as well.
Yeah. And you said it absolutely right because there are some things that are just out of your hands.
Yeah,
And I think we had Sean Walker on, and that was his situation where, he did a really good job, but a change in leadership. Now he's looking for a new job because that guy wants to bring a new
absolutely.
person in.
Absolutely. And
So,
on that, coach, I was watching just the three legends, Indiana. I think it was Reggie Miller,
mhm,
Larry Bird, Isaiah Thomas, and they had a nice little conversation about their interactions. And then Larry Bird was the head coach of the Pacers.
right,
Then Isaiah, I think behind him, and then Larry Bird came back as I think a GM.
right,
Okay, and Isaiah was saying the story. Larry came back in a different capacity, invited Isaiah in the office and said, Isaiah, I appreciate you. We're gonna go in a different direction.
right,
Isaiah was like, I think it's a mistake. They're both Indiana guys through college and hometown. And probably tongue in cheek, Isaiah said, Larry said, yeah, you're right. But I just like this guy. I like, and the guy that he ended up hiring for the head job was on his staff as an assistant.
hmm,
So he was gonna laugh and say, I like this guy better. But the point was just it's personal sometimes, and that somebody and more comfortable. And the guy that coach at the time, GM Larry Bird hired was his former assistant that was on his staff.
right. And now that we talk about assistants, now that you mentioned
Yeah,
assistant coaches getting promoted and things along those lines, from an assistant coach perspective, this time of year is always, very uneasy.
internal conflict,
Right. Because you have what you want to think as your safety net being your job,
no question.
but like Coach Eves, who he both worked for at A&T,
Mm-hmm.
he always told us, always know where your next job is.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Great
And
leader. Yes.
I heard him, but I didn't listen.
Right.
And you got out, but
Yes.
but
Yeah.
I didn't. And that I'll never forget that day when he calls us over to his office. We walk in there and the
Yeah.
athletic director's in there. And I'm
Oh
like,
yeah.
oh boy.
Yeah.
Like
That's not a good
it
meeting.
happened. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Like, man, I should have listened. Like
No
I should have
question.
gotten out.
But
So,
to your credit, coach, just all of the attributes that made you successful, made you an elite assistant coach, associate head coach was your commitment, your loyalty, and your vision carrying out the head coach. So that's kind of a conflict when you're just all in,
right.
whatever university, trying to be successful, believe it'll happen, to do that midstream and look for the next job, which you have to. But the more you're bought in, the more difficult it is. There's some guys on hoop dirt all season. Some assistant coaches, let me tell you what, they do the recruiting, they do their scouting, and they do the hoop dirt, and they're on the phone the whole time. So it is just such a dynamic oxymoron.
Definitely, definitely. And it's always a tough time this
Yeah,
time of year. And
it is.
um, I'll say I'm glad I'm on this side
No question
and don't have to go through this stress.
at
Um,
all.
man,
It-
what's going to happen? And you think you're good, but you just never know.
you never know. That's what makes it almost addicting. You don't know because it could go a variety of ways. Then you still have to take care of those young men that you're leading, and I've been on both sides as a head coach, into my contract, trying to negotiate a contract that I want, and
Hmm.
head leadership may not want the extension. And then you're still walking in the practice, walking in the games, and then you're being professional with the young people,
Right.
knowing in the back of your mind there may be a chance it may change. And then with
Hmm.
media a little bit, and then they have user board of trustees meetings where they
Hmm.
discuss it, and it always gets out. It always gets out. I tell you, my last year at Fayetteville State had, I think, 10 returning players on that
Wow.
roster, two All-Americans, two All-Freshmen. Most time you leave 3 or 4. I left 10. And again, it's a rented chair. And then
Right.
I remember it might have been, I know the AD and having negotiation board of trustees that was going on, but someone called me a booster, and I guess a family member of mine were in Norfolk State at Norfolk or at the MEAC tournament, and
Ooh,
just called me and said, "Hey, coach, are you okay?" And once I heard that, I said, "No, I'm good." Because nothing had
right,
finalized. But
right.
once someone connected asks you, "Are you okay?" They know something.
Yep.
They know something, and then it transpires, and then you talk to your team. You talk to your team, and I try to go the angle of hey, I've trained you up a certain way, you're gonna be fine. But when your best players' tears coming down the eyes, so my concern is with them, not me,
Right,
because at that phase, you built them up. They're
right,
7 years, and your staff did a great job, and your surrogate parents, and you build them. So they're not looking at, then we weren't losing like that. It was just a change.
right.
Your heart goes out for them, because that is almost like a divorce
Mm-hmm.
when a parent is gone. And the new coach is going to come in, is going to be a good coach, nothing against them, but you can't replace that relationship within,
Right,
at that time. And that was
right.
6, 7 years ago. Now, with the rules and the portal, is more transactional, but then the media would have you, and they check on you. But as assistant coach, again, it could be the opposite. Your head coach could get a job and
Yeah,
leave,
right.
and then he may go to a level where he may not bring you, because you may need a guy that is regional or
Mm-hmm.
experienced. So you could get left in the dark twofold: as assistant coach, head coach getting fired, or the head coach leaving.
Yeah, and that's one thing where we can roll into this part of it, but when that does happen,
Yeah,
when you finally get the word,
yeah,
whether
yeah,
from family members or from the media or actually
yeah.
from the athletic director,
No question. Hoop dirt.
right? Yeah, you see, you see it
Yeah.
a lot of places before you hear it's actually official.
No
But
question.
when it does happen, and let's look at your situation because
Right.
as we talked before, you had never been let go in any position from an
Right.
assistant coach to your head coaching position.
Yep. Yep. And
You've
yep.
always
Enforcing it.
moved on, and
Yeah.
now all of a sudden it happens.
Yeah.
And what's going through your mind of, do I want to stay a head coach? Do I want to go
Right.
back to being an assistant coach? Because you've coached at all levels, so
No
you're
question.
definitely more qualified than a lot of people to coach wherever. But
Right.
what was going through your mind when that happened? And just talk about the family situation and
Yeah.
the professional situation.
Well, you talk about the demographics of the geography of moving. My situation, my first 5 years in the profession, I moved 5 straight times.
Right.
Advancement. I mean, I moved from Fayetteville to Murfreesboro to Winston-Salem to Colorway to Winston-Salem. Like I said again, North Carolina, A&T, Greensboro. So I moved a lot.
Right.
Stopped. So family, oldest son, like, um, can you please stay here during the Fayetteville State tenure as a head coach? I don't care if the Lakers call you.
Hmm.
And the funny thing about that, it was year 5, I was hot, could have moved, but didn't. So when it happened, you become selfless,
Hmm.
family, like, you know what, honestly, we don't want to move. We didn't want to move. We've been here longest. I want to stay in the school. Wife want
Right.
to stay. So um, that was mine. Like, they have just all this time, 19 years. It's all been about me. I mean, we didn't even check on who else's job or school. We just go, 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 go,
Right.
go. And then at that kind of pause, I was at the point where, and and honestly, they were like, "Nah, I'm not moving." So, how do I continue to stay in the profession? If I want to stay in the profession, what capacity to serve,
Right.
without uprooting my family?
Hmm.
So I was fortunate to get an assistant job at Florida A&M University,
Okay.
in Tallahassee, and family stayed here.
Right.
So a lot of things go on. Again, if it was early in your career, late in your career, why it happened, mine's a 7-year run. I think the longest tenure coach there, I mean, 25 some years. So, in
Wow.
our profession, 7 years is a long time.
Yes, it is.
So wasn't bitter, was grateful.
Right.
Was coach of the year. Was first time in 30 years. So, it was just a lot going on. A lot going. I tell you one thing is funny though, just when you get that, and the outreach and the appreciation of all of the alum and fans and just people,
Right.
very
Right.
grateful, very grateful. But it turns the page and it gets very quiet,
Hmm.
you know, and then it's who's the next head coach at Fayetteville State University, what have you. But again, that was 7 years ago, without Twitter and this game went on fire like they are now.
Right.
I'm pretty
Right.
sure now guys know like 2 weeks in advance, like, hey man, you're not going to be here. But again, it was a contract year,
Hmm.
so it wasn't a complete shock. I know some people. I'm watching some games as we do that, maybe in their second year contract, sign a 5, and they're about to get let go. So that has to be much more crushing.
Right. Nowadays, especially at the high levels,
Yeah,
nowadays they have their buyouts are unbelievable.
yeah,
And
yeah.
with a lot of sports, I'm sure the
No question.
football coach at Texas A&M had a $76 million buyout.
He's
So
smart.
I don't think he's stressing about getting let go there. But I can tell you from my personal perspective, not so much the head coach, but the assistant coach. So, this was the first time, I can't say the first time, a couple times, but where you've been let go
Yeah,
and now you're really scrambling trying to figure out what's next.
yeah.
And even though coach said always find your know where your next job is.
You didn't have time to
um
look for it. Yeah, you was too
right.
busy.
And yeah, because it happened so fast.
Yeah.
You're not looking, because he had another at least 1 year, maybe 2 years left on his contract.
Mm-hmm.
So it was one of those things where you weren't prepared for
Not at
that
all.
part. You hear the rumors,
Right.
but you don't think it's going to happen.
People like it.
And
People always talking. So, people
yes,
always don't like you today. Didn't play their child. I mean, someone always man recruited. So you hear that, but I guess when it's louder, you're not sure on where it's coming from.
right. And for my situation at A&T, they moved me to the interim head coach
Okay.
while everything was going on.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
So in that, you have that small glimmer of hope that you may have an opportunity to
Yeah.
stay
Yeah.
on.
Yeah.
And, that was, the way I pushed it. I mean, we had, I think 7 guys coming back,
Yeah.
and it was ripe for a successful year.
No question.
I was making the schedule. They had the best schedule pre-conference schedule they had ever had.
It's
I,
cold business.
it
Cold
was
business.
set for success.
Yeah.
Somehow I signed a JUCO kid without having a job there,
Yeah.
who
No, no, you're good.
who
Yeah.
was that missing piece
Yeah.
that they needed. And but then that comes to an end.
Yeah.
And now you have to decide, man, what do I want to do?
Right.
And I'll tell you
Like
what,
quickly. Like
yeah,
quickly. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah. I took a couple months off. I didn't do anything over the summer for the first time. I think it was like 17 years
17 years had a
from
summer.
from working basketball camps
All
to
summer.
recruiting to doing something
Events.
over the summer.
Yeah.
I didn't do anything.
Yeah.
And I was like,
Good for
man,
you.
this is nice.
It is.
I
It
went
really
to
is.
I went to one event, and this was back when they had the 2 10-day periods.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And the very last weekend, I'm sitting in a gym, first day of the event. These coaches come walking in like zombies.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And it wasn't
That was
even
us.
Vegas.
Oh
So,
yeah. Yeah.
so they were just dead.
Yeah.
And I was like, man, you know
Deservedly
what? Like,
so.
I just need to step away from this.
No question.
So, um, you know, there's a lot of different ways you can look at this,
Yep.
but it's all, again, from head coaches to assistant coaches, it can be nerve-wracking. And, I don't have a family to worry about
Yes.
if I want to move somewhere, whereas
Yeah.
you were always having to make that decision of, what's my family gonna think?
No question.
What
Yeah.
are they gonna do?
People
And
had no idea. I want to thank you too, because a time or two you helped me move. You know what I'm saying? I think you picked up
man,
some big, I think magazines, but yeah, you
yeah,
helped in the process.
yeah. I had
I
a
appreciate that. You
stack
took
full of
care.
magazines.
Magazines. Yeah, I think
Yeah,
they might have been Jet magazines too. They were small, but I appreciate that. But also as a head coach, I didn't say my mind changed for my assistant coaches. So I'm thinking
sure.
about them. Because it's really almost a
Yes.
self-profession. Like, okay,
Hmm.
I'm talking, can this guy get the job? He could do it. Give him an interview. He knows the players, what have you. So I'm trying to get him an interview because, even though you get or not, that helps you professionally. So I'm trying to put him in the
Right.
best light, trying to call the people, get them jobs. So, as a head coach, you're really trying to take care of your staff. And at that time, the players, trying to calm them down, trying to let
Right.
them know it's part of business. And it is. So a lot's going on with that. But now, like this time of year, you alluded to earlier, different levels. Like most Division I schools, it's that tournament, and it's that
Right.
tournament. That tournament can make or break you. I mean, they just want
Hmm.
the tournament. You could be third or fourth, but you make a run, you get an extension and jump. Vice versa, you get kicked. You don't make it. It's
Right.
just damaging. So it's starting to heighten, and you're doing all that, and you're coaching and you're preparing, and you used to, again. This is years ago, but now it's transition. You should try to win and build. So
Right.
you're winning and building habits, but now these guys they can't build. I mean, they got to win today and tonight, and upsets, and that's where you see the emotion of the tournament. I think the big portion of the tournament, the players give all they have and compete, but the other emotion is just anxiety and stress. I mean, you get knocked out the wrong round, you're done. The same round
Absolutely.
you win, you propel up in the profession. It's amazing how that works.
Yeah. And, especially now with the transfer portal, you talk about the process and thought process you go through
Yes.
when you're uh, at this time of year.
Hmm.
And if you have a young core group of guys that are carrying a lot of the load as far
Right.
as scoring, as far as minutes and everything goes, and that, man, if I can just keep this core together,
No question.
the following year we're going to be better.
Yeah, yeah. People understand. We want to win now. Sometimes you have to struggle now to win later. Any
Right.
aspect of life, there's a struggle. If it's gardening, if it's weights, you got to struggle with 135 and get on your chest and be sore to get 155. But
Right.
something about basketball, people think now, and then
Right.
there's some relationships that are personal. You're trying to build young people sometimes off the floor. But I tell you another thing we didn't say earlier, just about that whole process and the tournament weighing so heavy. You could
Yes.
have with the carousel, you could have someone else that they want to put in
Right.
your position. To
Hmm.
Division I guy that's available. So someone may get fired from the NBA or fired from high major, and they're trying to stack them on your head. So it's a lot going on. And then when it does happen in your situation, being an interim, players are getting up out of there, but now they're getting
Right.
recruited the whole time, so
Yeah.
they're just waiting. Yeah.
Right.
So it is March Madness means more than basketball plays. It is coaches navigating, trying to advance, trying to
Yeah.
survive all within. But now, and we're part of that, I guess, space now with our coaching podcast. But there's some podcasts that their objective is who is getting fired every week. That's what you're talking
Right.
about. Who's on the hot? They got the point. They look up contracts, and all this is he is the last year. He's available, and it's bombarding. So I can't imagine again enjoying high school in reference to the lifestyle, But
And yeah, this I'll tell you what, this space that we're in
mm-hmm.
is it's so crazy because people ask me, "Oh, do you want to get back into coaching?" No, I'm good. I'm good. The way this is
Yeah,
now,
it's
you know,
wild.
right, the lack of stability, the
None.
from your contract, not
Yeah,
really, even though it's 4 or 5 year contract, we know it's not that anymore.
it's hey, my mentor told me it's a annual contract. Remember
Yes.
that, season to season.
And then, that's the way scholarships, the 1 year
1 year
renewal.
renewable. That should be a t-shirt. Yeah.
Right. So now you have the transfer portal,
Yeah.
which can again affect your following year.
It can.
As I was saying earlier, you're building this team with young players,
Hmm.
and
Hmm.
the following year, you may have an early exit in the conference tournament, but they played hard, they just missed a
Yeah.
couple shots.
Yeah.
But that next year,
It's
now
coming.
at the end of that season, you are re-recruiting
Re-recruiting.
your own players.
No question. God,
And
can you imagine that?
man, the perfect example last year, Florida Atlantic, a Final Four team, the
Hmm.
head coach said during one of the press conferences around the Final Four, he's like, I'm having to pretty much re-recruit my players right now that we're still
Wow.
playing because schools are contacting them, trying
Yeah.
to get them to transfer.
Yeah. We getting old, Scott.
Yeah.
There's something called honor and respect. It's gone.
No.
It's gone. It's gone at every level. High school is gone.
Yeah.
AAU, respect to the coach. It's gone of your peers. Remember back in the day, you know, if a guy called you from another school, which you would call the coach and say, "Hey, man,
Right.
Scott called me.
Yeah. Yep.
Looking at,
Exactly.
and that's how you handle it." And he would say, "I appreciate your coach." And he said, "Well, I'm gonna let him go anyway." But now it's just
Right.
it's crazy,
Right.
you know.
From my understanding, as a coach, you have to check the portal to see
Yeah,
if your players are transferring or not.
it's something called relationship. It's called turbulence. Like, you know,
Right.
people not the fake. Like, you know, we get a lot of fake relations. People's coaches, people smile in your face,
Yep.
stab you in the back. That's we used to that. But real relationships, if it's family, you have
Right.
struggle,
Right.
disappointment, anger, and you get through it. That's what hardens it. Not the
Right.
hey, you know, everything ain't right. Like family, you have brothers and sisters. So that we used to have that with players. Freshman, I can't stand Coach Kee. He don't know. Man, man, I hate that dude. That dude,
Right.
second year, man. Oh, junior year. Hey, man, listen to Coach, man. Freshman doing senior year crying, man. Coach, I appreciate you, man. I used to be
Yeah.
not on time, and then but the struggle relationship, that's genuine. But
Hmm.
now everything is transactional. Hey, can you come in for a year? I want $100,000. You know, parent don't even care. They don't even ask no more. Hey, my mom is great, and I play. My mom talking to head coach Duncan about education. I mean, like, you know, full
Right.
scholarship, a couple of things she wanted, recruited me. I got, you know, different school, Eastern Washington, Fayetteville State. She just wanted two things. One, is the school paid for it? That was big for her.
Right.
Yes, ma'am. Will he get his degree? Yes,
Yep.
ma'am. Make him a
That's it.
man. That's it. So if I call her about anything, well, Lavelle Moten over at Central, he gets 20 shots. I'm getting 7. Didn't care.
Right.
Coach called me this bad name. She said, "Did he put your scholarship?" No. He's still in school. Click. You know, so she didn't want long as he on those 3 things.
Right.
But now you said my son gonna be the point guard. Well, now I'm coming to 3. Well, you need to run some more screen and roll. Johnny get
Right.
more shots. It's crazy, insane.
Yeah.
No one says like when Johnny done skipped 5 damn classes and got 4 Ds, you change them. They never call for that.
No. No.
Hey,
No.
coach, Johnny got 3 Ds. Thank you so much for interacting with Johnny girlfriend. No, they call for that. Johnny got four shots and Jim got 9. They don't even fake it no more.
Right.
So imagine recruiting that type of kid. All you got to tell them what they want to hear, and the parents. Thank God for podcasts.
Yeah. Yeah. It puts us in a
Yeah.
great peace of mind this time of
Mm-hmm.
year. And coach, while you're taking a drink, let's pause for a second and give my father a shout out. Uh,
Appreciate you.
yeah, this was a great Christmas present for the
Yes.
Life on the Road podcast. I got the green screen, so you really can't see mine, but Coach
Yeah.
Kee got it. And yeah,
Fire. We appreciate all of the listeners. And then
yes,
with the gifts, we've had a few this year.
yes,
So
got some good
we
t-shirts,
appreciate
got
that. Yeah.
some hoodies.
Long
So
sleeve, short, the whole
yes,
9.
yeah,
We getting
so
it. But back to you, like I said, just more difficult with the way the rules are to build relationships because they have to have trust, but they have to have rigor, and now that the way it is when you're in, when you're out, you have to make it appear everything is good because once it's
right,
not, they are gone. And remember back in the days, you know, they called the parent called you and said, "Nah, we're gonna keep Johnny here." I mean, you know, but now it's like,
right,
Johnny gone, and you said that he said that we gonna be a point guard, but I'm really a full man. So I respect the coaches. I love it. I love them collegiately and really praying for them because I can't imagine what they no, I know what they're doing now. It's not building characters, not relationship. It's just basketball now. It's basically
right,
summer league basketball at the highest level. There's no relationships. There's nothing. Win now, get many players collectively,
yep,
no relationship, and make them happy for a summer. And that's what it is. So if you're trying to use this as a tool of changing lives, it's getting a little more difficult.
yeah. It's really become high paid travel ball.
It is. It is. Now I was never good at that. I never did. And again, because I thought my strength was relationships and trying to teach life skills. Think about, I'm not that old, but I feel it. I was trying to do that through basketball. Ain't that crazy? Now I'm winning too, but I was trying to make young men better discipline,
Trying to use
and
basketball to teach life lessons. Go
to make
figure.
people better. I mean, who am I? I must be a maniac now. And my philosophy was I have their attention with this basketball. So I'm going to use at this to my advantage, being on time, being respectful. And after a while, I'm going to trick them to do these right things for basketball. And after a while, it'll be a part of their personality. But hey, what was I thinking, man? Shoot, I need transfer portal, tell everybody to play the 3, the 1, 2, tell them all they can come to the game and locker room they want to, and we'll give them a shout out. But it's definitely a good profession, but it has changed, and that way of thinking will get you fired in 2 years. You better get as many players as you can. Period.
The old saying is a great profession and a bad business.
Bad business. And, even think about this basketball as a coach, your system has to change.
Right.
We talk about complex systems, and we call it deep learning when it becomes a level where it becomes a habit. It takes a lot of time and repetition, failure. So deep learning, if it's a motion offense with flares and reads, you got to be simple because you got to get, because a lot of times guys first year, you see a guy from high school balling out, you see him on college, in the fanfare, or coach, what does Coach Cal call him? The basketball bennies. Well, so-and-so hold him down. I said, no, he's understanding a system. It takes some time, and then in a year or two, he's just flowing. But now with a year in, you're out, you better be simplistic, get you a 1-2-2 zone, high ball screen stuff, and go from there, because you can't plant roots 3 or 4 years. It takes time, no matter how talented you are. In high majors on TV, you see those guys, their talent comes back in on the defensive end because the habits aren't built. But so it changes, to your point. The system has to be more simplistic and more universal.
Absolutely. And that's a whole nother conversation.
My fault. Yeah, no, that's the next show. Yeah, my fault. That's the next show. Yeah.
We've done a tremendous job of staying away from X's and O's. Through all the episodes we've done so far. Not talking strategies and philosophies, but more so the journey. And with this time of year, this is where a lot of those coaching journeys are going to they're at the fork in the road.
Yes.
And where are they going to go, and where are they going to end up? And so we have nothing but respect for all the coaches out there, because we know what you're going through.
We love you. Appreciate you.
And that gives us more content to talk about as their journey goes, and as their journey continues.
Yes.
So does ours. So, Coach Kee, any final words as we wrap up our special edition with our 2 special guests today?
Well, again, want to wish all the coaches this time of year with some of the pressure that is invalid at times. Stay on your journey, even though a contract may end, but the life that you impacted will continue and prosper. So wishing you guys to do what your calling is. And then sometimes you change spots, but change stops and spots, but definitely keep doing your journey, because there's no more impactful profession in the world than coaching. Absolutely.
So, Coach Kee, until next time.
I'm Alphonza Kee.
And I'm Scott Bollwage.
Keep it in the road.
And keep it between the lines. We want to thank you for your continued support of the Life on the Road podcast. Please comment on each episode and give us that 5-star rating wherever you get your podcast. And make sure you hit the follow button so you don't miss an episode. You can also watch all the episodes on our YouTube page and follow us on social media at Coach AKSB. Thanks again to all of our guests and listeners. This wouldn't be possible without you.